So back into day 2 now in the Ogwen Valley in North Wales. So just left the campsite. It's about 10:30 or so. And the benefit of coming in this time of year, so it's in June now, I think. We're into June. Is that sunset's like 9:30, 10 o'clock. So leaving a little bit later in the morning to start the climb, start the hike is like fairly accessible. It doesn't really get dark for that long. So yeah, benefit of that. But yeah, today we're doing the Carnedd range. So just left the campsite behind me and then heading up the opposite side of the valley. So that is Tryfan there, which we did yesterday. And then in the valley there's the A5 road. And then over there, the other side, that's the Carnedd range. So there's, I think, 2 or 3 of them over there, all with that kind of same Carnedd, and then different bits after that in Welsh for the names. But yeah, gonna head up this first one. So I think it's Ole Wen, I think is the name of it. So just walking along the valley a little bit to then Ogwen, and then heads up from there. So yeah, longer route today. I think about 18.6-ish K. So yeah, a fair bit longer. It says about 7 hours or so. So we'll see how it takes on time. Got a lot more food and water today, so should be good for a long day out. So the weather today looks alright. It's quite good currently. It's sort of a little bit breezy, but not cold. It rains sort of on and off all night, but it looks like it should hold. It should be a bit cloudy and maybe sort of foggy the rest of the day. Currently though, the hills are kind of out of the cloud, which is good. So we'll see how we go as we get up there. So that there is Len Ogwen, so Lake Ogwen in the valley. And then this trail heads on up towards that first peak there. And then we kind of loop round the back of it in a big sort of long loop through a number of other hills in the Carnedd range. And we kind of loop all the way back down to the road. And then we go along that same sort of slate path that we finished on the Tryfan walk yesterday, back to the campsite. Probably about halfway up, just under the first sort of climb. It's kind of a fairly sustained, steady rise all the way up. Kind of sort of fairly well established, maintained path. Pretty cool view over the other side of the valley from here. You got Tryfan, Glyders, Glyders 4, and lakes down there. It kind of carries on round as well. Yeah, pretty clear as well today, which is quite cool. Clouds staying quite high. A little bit on the top of those, but not too much this side, so should be some good views from the top. But yeah, just heading on up path here, kind of heads up here following this little river, and then bears around left and heads on up there. So just a couple hundred meters short of the first summit. So Henry Ole Wen. Not very good with my Welsh. But yeah, just a couple hundred meters short. It's a long old climb up. It's pretty sustained, not like steep, but it just keeps going and going. Pretty much the campsite and the road's at about 300 meters. And I think this goes up to around about 1,000, so it's a fair climb up. But yeah, just short of the summit. And then we kind of head down a little bit and work our way around to the other peaks on this route. Yeah, been fairly warm on the climb up. Clouds kind of coming over now a little bit windier. So might put a layer on once we get up on top. Just keep warm. Have a bit to eat, get some water, and then carry on. So over the summit, and a bit of food and water, a bit of a chat to some people up there. Going on. So I'll show you in a sec. So we're heading down this path and then working our way all the way around. There's a little bit of an out and back, and then working our way around and down over back there, back down towards the road and car park. But yeah, some pretty cool views. Clouds sort of cleared. See the whole valley, which is pretty cool. All the way down there as well towards the coast. I think it's Bethesda, and then I think out there is Anglesey, so the island that sits off of North Wales. But yeah, pretty panoramic views. See over towards sort of Snowdonia and that sort of way as well. So just coming up on the summit plateau bit of Carnedd Dafydd, so the first of the Carnedds on today. So it's just over 1,000 meters, so kind of 1,040 or something like that. But yeah, that's the bit up there, part at the top of it. So yeah, just this last little bit over these kind of boulder field to the top of the next one. Headed over the second summit, and then now we're working on towards the third. So just a bit, get to the edge and show you. So it works its way kind of in a big sweeping bit around the valley on the other side, up to the next top. So yeah, we heading around sort of around here, all the way up to here, and then I think we go out and back to that kind of lighter patch, and then we head on around the back, all the way back down into the campsite valley. So yeah, halfway through that traverse, heading over to here. So we head sort of around this bit here, so it's traversing along this kind of side bit, up off to the top, back down again, and then back over, sort of higher up on the traverse onto the next one. So not really much of a kind of defined path here, but it's see where we need to go, so it's pretty obvious. Just kind of picking across this kind of loose, bouldery, sort of mossy, grassy bit. So it's the final sort of 100 meters up this little bit of a climb onto the Elen summit. Some kind of funky looking black sheep. Yeah, so it's the last little bit of a climb and stuff onto this bit, just on top here, kind of rocky out. Just the summit. So on the Yr Helgi summit, kind of pretty rocky, kind of sharp. It's quite cool. So, yeah, see now over there, that's Anglesey. This is kind of the route then of the Welsh 3000 thing, so you come up onto here and you kind of go off down that way. Yeah, all we're going to be doing is heading back along this ridge, back to this point here, which is where we split off to come this way, and I'll go last sort of big climb up to there, and then it kind of just drops off down the other side, mostly downhill, a little bit of kind of up and down, mostly downhill, all the way back down to the A5 and back to the campsite. So yeah, we've got about 9.5 kilometers left, so about halfway distance wise. Got about maybe 2.5, maybe 3 hours left, depending on how the ascents go. And we've been out for 3.5 hours so far, so yeah, doing well. I'm not going crazy quick, but just kind of enjoying a nice day out in the mountains. Not really done this side, not done the Carneddau range, so getting these sort of ticked off and get a bit of an idea for this side is quite cool. Not really, yeah, so not been this side before, so it's cool to come and see some new hills. So we made it back to the fork in the path where we kind of went out and back from. So now I'm going to be climbing back up. So we came over here. Up. Yeah, it's kind of the last major climb. It's a little bit of another sort of climb further on, but it's mostly downhill once we get to the top of this peak. But yeah, it looks fairly well established path. A little bit sort of scree, but mostly good. So yeah, bit of a climb. So just gonna get my head down and get up to the top. So up onto the summit plateau. Fairly flat up here. And boulders all over the place, sort of little rocks, but yeah, pretty flat. We can't see it in the mist, but the summit's just there. So last kind of pretty 150, 200 meters. And yeah, at the summit of what is it called? It's Carneddau or Carnedd Llewelyn. So one of the other or 2 Carneds I've been to today in the Carneddau range, Carneddau, however you say it. But yeah, it's just working my way over this, and then we kind of start working, pretty much working down from there. So it's got this pretty big kind of summit cairn. So it's just, cairn's just a pile of stones that is either on the summit or kind of on the path on the way up. Usually helps with navigation, so if you kind of it's a bit of a white out winter or whatever, you can tell where you're going still. There are a lot of summits. I don't know if they have a Welsh name, but yeah, cairn is the kind of English name for them. Yeah, usually just piles of rocks like this. But that's I don't know where the summit is or where the path is or something like that. A bit of a stone barrier, just a bit of a shelter from the wind. As you can see now, it's a bit cloudy up here. Wind's coming in a bit. So just hiding a little bit in that little sheltered bit. Yeah, just sitting down for 5 minutes, have a bit of water. So got one more lower peak to hit, kind of descends and then climbs a little bit back up to it, and then it's pretty much down from there back to the A5, and then along that slate trail from yesterday back to the campsite. So got about 8k left to do, so it should be a fair bit quicker than what I've done so far, just because it's mostly downhill. And then there's a good sort of k or so just along the flat on the bottom of the valley. But yeah, I think this is probably the highest point of the day. We're at what, 1,059 meters on Carnedd Llewelyn. And then yeah, we're heading back down now, so about probably another couple of hours and we'll be back down to the campsite. So this is another one of those cairns I was talking about. So this isn't the summit, this is along the path. So summit's up there, and obviously if it's really poor visibility, nice clear marker. It's like where your head is. They have them all over the place on trails, in sort of the mountains and hills. Yeah, it's kind of an easy way to kind of know that you're at least on a path. Obviously you always need to know kind of roughly where you're going to and from, but yeah, they provide at least a kind of reassurance that you're on a path or on the path, and are going the kind of right way, because obviously some of these hills have like pretty steep cliffs and drop-offs, so you want to kind of follow the established path rather than just getting to a point where you maybe can't backtrack or is real steep drop-off and definitely isn't the sort of safe way off the hill. So yeah, the cairns generally provide that kind of reassurance and sort of navigation marker, if you like, to know which way to go. So heading down there now. So off of this peak, working my way sort of down the path you can sort of see here, there, and then we'll drop down up that kind of darker patch just above the lake here. That's the last little climb up, and then it kind of just tracks that all the way down back to the road down there, in this kind of this valley here. And then yeah, the campsite is just, that's Tryfan there, so it's just below there. So we'll kind of hit the road around here, up to the campsite from there. So yeah, pretty clear navigation now. Just kind of follow the path, follow the ridge, all the way down past the lake, down back to the road. So just about to get to the base of this last climb. So it's kind of a bit of a rocky ascent, fairly steep, but not too short, not too long. So it just kind of goes straight up and onto the top, and then it's just a kind of gradual drop then down to the road from there. So the last real bit of hard work of the day, and then it's all downhill to the road, and it's back into the valley. Up on the top of the last climb now, so just finishing off the last sort of 30-40 meters up onto Yr Helgi, final summit of the day. It's just a little bit lower, this one probably maybe nearly just under 800 meters tall. It's a little bit lower, cleared up though nicely, like pretty crazy views all round 360, and you can now see the campsite again. So that's Tryfan, and it's just at the base of that. So up here, we kind of follow this all the way down to the road to that campsite there, and then along back to the tent. So back into the valley floor now. So kind of pretty much level with the road, just a little bit lower, but a way lower as we go. Back on a kind of a farm track now, so pretty easy going. Just got to work my way along the valley for 2.5 kilometers or so. It's the campsite now. So heading along this path here, all the way down to campsite just here, and that's Tryfan there, the kind of shape of it, that sort of shark's fin shape, and then just down to the base of it. So we are done, back to the campsite. So big day doing the whole of the, or a good chunk of the Carneddau range. So we've done 6 hours 47 minutes, about 18.8 kilometers, and then got 1,231 meters of ascent. So a fairly big day, long day out, but pretty good views and pretty fun route. So yeah, day 2 done.